Hi, it is the Human Operating System time. So today I'd like to share with you on the 3 critical keys of General JiGuang's writing. So what happened is there's a reader of my book, the Wing Chun Matrix, because he saw here General JiGuang's writing, which is the General JiGuang's Fifth Canon Essential Chapter, and there are some translation there. So he was asking me, can I explain what is in the JiGuang's writing? So that's why I like to share with you the 3 critical keys of the General JiGuang's writing. This is very important. Now, so this is the chapter of the JiGuang writing, and there are 3 keys here. 1, 2, 3. Now, before I go into these 3 keys, I like to share with you on the history background before General JiGuang and why is this three keys there. So what happened is that before General JiGuang, the Chinese martial art is in a very monotonous type of training. Like, for example, the guy who trained wrestling, he will only train wrestling. The guy who trained kicks, he will only good in that field or that area. And then the guy who trained punching will good in that area. Okay. So that is what happened at that situation. Is not very organized, and so it's not very comprehensive. So the Japanese pirate invaded or make trouble to the Chinese the coast, and General JiGuang at that time was sent to straighten out all this issue which is unsolved. And so General JiGuang with his people, his team, actually reorganized many things in Chinese military. And so these three keys is the 3 critical stuff which is the core of what he make change in the military art or martial arts. And actually the Chinese martial art after General JiGuang is using this, okay, as a base. And so what happened is that as we all know in history, General JiGuang's revolutions or reform influenced Korea and Okinawa afterwards because of the successful and effective and efficient of General JiGuang's reform or revolutions. So that is the history background we need to know, okay? And so let's go through one by one. This 1, 2, 3 in this one single page. What are they? Okay, and you can look at General JiGuang is like today's CTO, Chief Technology Officer in the Silicon Valley. What he write has to be really specific, very key point, very important. No, not writing a fiction, but just get to the point, okay? And this is what happened. That's why in such a simple page here, hundreds of Chinese character, it influenced the Chinese martial art. After that, influenced the Korean and the Okinawan or Japanese. This is a very influential page with the 3 keys, okay? Simple, precise, concise, and all the important key is there. Okay, so let's go. Now, before we get into the first key point, we need to have a background of a Chinese history in military. The first thing is the Chinese is really very into momentum. Okay, so thousands of years ago, since the Sun Tzu, okay, since the Sun Tzu time, the art of war, the Chinese has been very focused and very good at knowing the momentum, be able to make use of momentum, and be able to create momentum. Okay, so as in the Sun Tzu, the art of war is said that it is using the momentum. Okay, and such as you using rocks rolling down from on top of the hill downward, using that momentum, and not forcing your soldier or army to against that. Okay, but using that momentum, the momentum of the big round rock rolling down from the top of the hill, so forth. And as we know today, momentum in physics is mass multiplied by velocity or speed with direction. Okay, so mass multiplied by velocity, that's the momentum. That's what it is. Okay, so the Chinese is good in that. Okay, they using that instead of using the brute force manpower. And then, so there's the momentum, which we need to know what is the Chinese keen in. And also, the Chinese at that time, at the Sun Tzu time, already realized that momentum is like water. It is continuous changing within changing. It never fixed. So over in the Sun Tzu, it said that one using the constant change momentum to adapt to the enemy and defeat the enemy. Okay, and it also in the Sun Tzu, it talk about the 5 ways of the handling of the momentum. The 5 ways, which is you use one momentum to create another momentum. That's one way. Or you use another momentum to against this or oppose this momentum, or you use something smaller to control this momentum, or you just let the momentum die out, dissolve itself, or you use this extremely high momentum, it just crush everything. Like if you have a superior speed, like you can travel Mach 10 and the opponent is only travel Mach 1, you just use the speed to destroy him. Or if your weight is 1,000 kilogram and your opponent weight is only 10 kilogram, you just use your weight to crush him. Okay, so we need to know this momentum is a big deal for Chinese. That's the core of their art of war, their culture in war and battle. Make use of momentum instead of using manpower. Okay, now, so when we come to the first key of the General JiGuang's writing, the first key, it is said that it is actually adapted to the Sun Tzu, which I just explained to you. Make using of the momentum and the change of momentum, and then the speed. Yes, the speed. Okay, the speed or the velocity. Make use of that, and then make use of the momentum the opponent not familiar with. Okay, and then you always want to be fast. Okay, So it talk about in the first key of the general JiGuang writing, it talk about that the momentum is continuously change. It's like a chain effect. Okay, it's just one change to the other. Another one, it talk about the speed, and then it talk about the accurate and high efficiency. Thus, it is saying that you want to take care of the first shot very cleanly, otherwise it's messy. Okay, so another one is that you want to find an opening to shoot in. It's not blocking and all those kind of stuff, because once you get into the blocking and those, then you expect 10 type of blocking and all this movement, which is not effective at all. Okay, it's talking about that. Okay, it's how to use the momentum. And also one thing we need to watch out. General JiGuang is talking about this momentum has to be changed, continuous changing, and has to be very accurate, precise, high speed, and so forth. If you look at his army, the army he's training, he select his men with a very strong physical. And those people has to train like running kilometers every day as training. Okay, that's in the history record. There's no magic at all. He select his men as with a strong physical, healthy, strong physical, and they train them, say, with running a few kilometers every day, and all those physical training, your cardio. Okay, so only that you can play this momentum games. So one need to be careful what the first key of the general JiGuang saying, that it is a momentum play. The momentum play is always changing. You have to be sharp. You has to be accurate, fast, and then it has to be change within change. And you have to have a strong body, physical body, to handle that. Otherwise, you cannot do it. So that is what the teaching, the key, the first key is about. Now, the second key is what he said, that the monotonous fighting of the Chinese before him. Every school is good at their specific thing, and his idea, General JiGuang's idea, is he want to merge all of this, so that it is no longer the guy who is good in kick is good in kick, the guy who is good in wrestling is good in wrestling. He want to merge this to be a holistic or comprehensive art. And that is what happened. Okay, he is the guy in traditional Chinese martial art, which is having a comprehensive or evolve or reform or evolve into a comprehensive martial arts, which is have the long fist art, the short strike art, like the takedown and the ground art. Okay, so of course it is very different. Things change, and some techniques might be different at that time and now, but it is a comprehensive art like today's MMA. Okay, the idea is that there's the second key of General JiGuang. Okay, after General JiGuang, traditional Chinese martial art is no longer just a simple martial art. It is become a holistic or comprehensive art. Okay, which have the long fist, short strike, takedown, and ground fighting, and each of this art have their specialty. say the guy who have a specialty in the long fish is special, but they do cover the other. Okay, so after him, after the general JiGuang, this is very careful. Say if people is good in short strike, the art is a short strike art, the Shaolin short strike, even though they are expertise in the short strike, but they still know this or have the solution to handle this. Okay, that is what happened. That's the second key of general JiGuang. Okay, now the third key is associated with the attitude of learning. The third key is the attitude of learning. So it's said here clearly in the third key, it said that once one learn the skill, one train in the skill, one need to test it. Okay? However, the notion of the test is to find out what works, what not works. It is not about boasting who win or who lose. Okay? It is about thinking what works, why it is working, why it is not working, instead of who is the best fighter, those kind of stuff. Okay? And also it said that those who is good in fighting will need to have a good skill. So in the third key of general JiGuang is saying, if you want to have a good skill, you need to get trained and you need to test it. However, the mental attitude is not who is number one fighter in the world. It is just want to be expert in the art or the skill or how to do it. So it's a very technologically put one personal on the side and see what happened. So the three keys, the first key is the key of momentum, is the soul of fighting, and it's continuous changing like water. Okay, like Sun Tzu said and so forth. So you got to be like water, flow and change. The second key is you have to be comprehensive. Okay, like you can think about it like today's MMA. The third key is, the point is to find out what works, what not works, and the more you know what works and what not works, that is how a person master the fighting arts or fighting skill has to be. It's nothing to do with I'm number one, you're number one, or we fight who's number one, all those kind of stuff. Okay, so this is the three keys of general JiGuang in those hundreds of words writing, which is influence the Chinese military and the Chinese martial art and the Korean and the Okinawan. So this is the writing, okay, of the general JiGuang Fifth Canon Essential Chapter. If you don't know how to read this in Chinese, that three keys is the key you want to get out from this. Okay, now. So, when I wrote the book, the Wing Chun Matrix, okay, the key, the reason why I put all this thing in, is because my direction, as I have already continued said here in the Human Operating System, my goal is to transfer culture, the Chinese ancient culture, to the West. Got nothing to do with I'm number one or this is my lineage. All those traditional Chinese martial art society things. It is strictly technically what does the ancient Chinese is presenting or talking about or practicing. Okay, so it is like you are in university, you study the Chinese, ancient Chinese art, so you study those things. Okay, so it's not to do with your martial art, who is the fighter, who is the grandmaster, but look at things technically and objectively. Okay, so as we know by now that General JiGuang's writing is extremely important because it influenced the Chinese, influenced the Korean, the Okinawan or Japanese today, and so it's important to know what is the bottom line. Okay, and so that is at 1560s, right? Now, so if you notice that in the Wing Chun Matrix, I refer to another book which is the Shaolin Short Strike book, Shaolin Short Strike from the Shaolin Temple. That is what the Short Strike book, which is all the short strike art, from Shaolin, can use as a common denominator. Okay, and this book has been verified by the Chinese historian Tang Hao. Okay, it is a real deal book. Okay, now if you go into the Shaolin Short Strike book, which is compiled in the 1784, you can find out this area is actually a repeat of the JiGuang's 1560s, that chapter, the second key. This is in this Shaolin Short Strike canon. Okay, in the beginning of it, in the beginning or in the first few pages of the Shaolin Short Strike book. Okay, so 1560s, 1784. You know that it is replicate many things here. It's copied down many things here from the JiGuang, and you can see how it is influenced. Okay, to the Shaolin Short Strike. Now, well, we know Wing Chun is a Shaolin-based short strike. Wing Chun is based, it is from Shaolin. That's why you have Mui, which is a Shaolin nun or monk. Or even if you want to talk about Jisim, there's a Shaolin monk or nun. And this is the books which exist today to know what happened in the 1700, go top to late 1600, on what is going on the Shaolin art. Okay, and now we know it is linked directly there, because you can see the use of the chapter, the phrase of the chapter of the General JiGuang's book. And also we can see, like recently, actually at the same time, I published my Wing Chun Matrix, the Mr. Huang Hanchao, Mr. Huang, or Sifu Huang Hanchao of praying mantis, also have research into General JiGuang's writing and verified with the praying mantis art. Okay, so he also released this book in Chinese in Hong Kong. So this is what it is, and as why I'm keeping saying again and again, I am not into those traditional Chinese martial arts.